Hello folks, I have another video here. My main focus right now is what is termed the pattern completion and pattern separation mechanisms. This is taking place in the dentate gyrus and the CA3 neurons of the hippocampus. That's where these processes are taking place, and I found something just now related to these here, the CA3 and CA1 pyramidal cells in the brain. A lot is going on right here, in my opinion. It's through these neurons, through these cells, where the state of the input is being transmitted through the attractor-selector mechanisms. What I call the selector-attractor mechanisms. But in my research here of these cells, I found this. This is regarding these pyramidal cells. To support cognitive function, the CA3 region of the hippocampus promotes computations involving attractor dynamics. Attractor dynamics. Now when I theorize that somewhere in the area of the dentate gyrus there are attractor-selector mechanisms. That was prior to learning that they actually have something that they term an attractor mechanism. My descriptions are based on my experience of using ranges of time and space, aka targets, to stimulate those parts of my brain. I experience them, and then I go and research those areas. Here's the importance of pattern separation and pattern completion, because it is generically termed AOL and stuff like that in the very generic terms. But what it actually is, this is a great descriptor right here. Pattern separation describes a process by which the brain discriminates similar stimuli from previously encoded stimuli. Memory comparatives. If you go through a process of pattern completion, that would indicate that the input, the quote-unquote target, that is quote-unquote stimulus, those patterns moving through the dentate gyrus, being recognized by a previous memory, and then getting looped into that previous memory. And you lose track of the actual quote-unquote target. Pattern separation is when those neurons, those CA3 neurons and cells, recognize a similar pattern, but it does not complete. It can stay separate. That's the novel environment. That's remote viewing. This is very interesting here. In this session, I'm looking for pattern completion. I'm looking for pattern separation. And I caught a very interesting thing here. All right, here's the quote-unquote target. All right, this beautiful water. the main thing, where my eye is drawn to, is the man-made object here, which is the boat. Look on top of the boat, and you see there's a canopy on top of the boat. And then there's some flags and blah, 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 blah. All right? Watch how pattern completion works. Here, again, my main focus going into this exercise is that I'm looking to experience pattern separation and pattern completion. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about experiencing pattern completion and pattern separation. I'm going to go to some ideograms here, see if I can pull some through. If I can experience something through my nervous system. If I can feel anything that's going to take me to that part of my brain. Those didn't feel good. Looking for a pattern. Looking for patterns. I'm bringing my awareness into this area of my brain. I want a pattern. Okay, I got one. Okay, so look at that. Look at that. Let's go here again. And there is the top on the boat, okay? So that is an indication to me, looking back on it, that this pattern that exists in this range of time and space did come through. But now look what happens, and I'm really glad this happened. This is a really good example. It's going through the process of pattern completion in my mind. There's something here with a peaked roof. I'm jotting down here under pattern completion an old western town. Old western town. The pattern completion. See, it's going through a pattern completion now. A whole thing just happened there. This is called pattern completion. This element is true right here. But as it's moving through that part of my brain, the pattern stimuli goes through a process of being attached to a similar pattern. My mind, my memory, I used to call it a memory comparator. I'm upgrading that now. So it's a pattern completion from memory comparator. This brought in the shape here of an old western town, like an old ghost town. Filled in the rest of the pattern here. Completed the pattern. But now I break from that. And I'm going to go back and try some more, see if my nervous system can do anything else. if it's going to show me anything. And one of these, oh, I'm going to go back and try again. Hang on, I'm not satisfied here. I'm going to try it again. Spending a lot of time here. There's a lot of time with this processing in my brain. But I'd say about half of that time was spent on how do I interpret this? It's a boat. It's a boat with a top on it. And then I end it. That's it. It's a boat with a top on it. Right there. Boat with a top on it. So we've got both elements here. Pattern completion and pattern separation. Elements of pattern separation came in. But the interesting thing is that the pattern separation element of the true state came in after the completion. So that would take me here into these cells where the pattern separation element still made its way through, even though the completed one probably branched off and ended. The separated one continued to move through those cells. Fascinating example here. Fascinating example. This is, in my opinion, it's not even my opinion. It's groundbreaking work, especially this one. To find where it is actually called attractor dynamics after I had intuitively labeled it as attractor selector mechanisms. So I can look at this area of the brain and say, yeah, I'm getting close to what I term the attractor mechanism in the hippocampus area, including in the hippocampus area. And I will also find the selector mechanism, a selector mechanism. So that's it for this. The exploration will always continue. The best is yet to come. Thanks so much for taking the time. Till next time.